Welcome to the Take Your Apprenticeship podcast. The Take Your Place team is made up of 5 universities and 9 further education colleges from across the east of England. We are an impartial project dedicated to giving you the information you need regardless of where you are applying to study. Since 2017, we have worked with over 30,000 students from 100 different schools, colleges and sixth forms, helping them to explore their options and discover their potential. Now we hope to help you too. In this podcast series, we will explore all aspects of finding, applying for and succeeding in an apprenticeship. Through talking to experts and current apprentices from a variety of industries, we will help you explore your future apprenticeship options. In this episode, my colleague Naomi spoke to Ellen, who currently works as an Apprenticeships Coordinator for Suffolk Council. Ellen has also completed 2 apprenticeships herself and speaks to Naomi about why she chose the apprenticeship pathway over going to university. As with all our conversations in this series, our interviews are recorded remotely, so you might hear some background office and working from home noises. Don't forget to check out the Take Your Place resource website at takeyourplace.ac.uk/resources for more university and apprenticeship information.
I am joined today by Ellen, who is currently working as part of the skills team at Suffolk County Council. Could you start by telling me about your apprenticeships?
Yes, of course. So my first apprenticeship was a level 2 in business administration, which then led on to my second apprenticeship, which was a level 4 diploma in conveyancing law and practice. I completed both these apprenticeships at a local conveyancing office and came in as a conveyancing assistant at 18.
Wow, so they're both quite different. Could you tell us a bit about how you went from business administration to conveyancing law?
Yeah, so when I started my apprenticeship at 18, I thought that business admin was a very good kind of broad subject to start with because I hadn't done anything business related previously or worked in an office. And after I'd completed the business admin, it was kind of the next natural step to take due to the nature of my role and being in that conveyancing environment. So the company I worked with, they thought I fit in really well, and judging from my kind of progress and hard work on my level 2 apprenticeship, they offered me training tailored more to the industry. So being an assistant for a year also gave me a good grounding and knowledge already of the conveyancing structure and process.
Oh, great. So actually they work nicely together. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Could you tell us about how you first became interested in doing an apprenticeship? What was your route from GCSEs through to your current position now?
Yeah, so in high school, I think I remember there being an apprenticeship assembly, which I can't overly remember now. I think in year 9 and 10, there was quite a big stigma on apprenticeships that are, only for people who don't do well in school. Kind of wasn't really on my mind at that time. I did my GCSEs. I did English, maths, science, psychology, history, ICT, dance, expressive arts and technology, which then led me on to do my A-levels at Suffolk 1. And originally I wanted to do ancient history, psychology, English and dance, but at the last minute I chose sociology instead of ancient history, which turned out to be my strongest subject in the end. And I really overall enjoyed school in sixth form, and it was in sixth form that I really started to think, what's the next step? My teachers all kind of assumed I'd go to uni based on my grades, but I was unsure on what I wanted to do next. I wasn't keen on university due to how specific the course would be and how long it was. Obviously, it's 3 to 4 years that you're at university, whereas an apprenticeship, you could kind of do a more practical qualification and it was less time. It was a year, so I thought, even if I didn't get on in the first year, I have time to kind of try something different. So with experience in work already, I'd been working from the age of 15 as a Saturday girl in a hair salon to KFC to Tesco's as a checkout girl. So that was from 15 to 18 and I enjoyed working, so I thought an apprenticeship was really kind of the right path for me.
When you started applying for apprenticeships, where did you look for vacancies? What types of questions did you have to answer in your application?
So I decided business admin would be a good starting apprenticeship. I knew I wanted to work in an office environment. I didn't really branch out within my sixth form as in how to apply for apprenticeships. I think because a lot of people were university driven, I felt like I couldn't ask for some reason. But I started to look on Indeed, as that's something my mum suggested. That's where she'd look for jobs, and she'd help me kind of go through Indeed to see if there was any apprenticeships out there. And I came across Key Training, which is a apprenticeship provider, who contacted me after I kind of reached out to them, and they assisted me through the apprenticeship process. They gave me lots of information, and they asked me a series of questions over the phone of what I was looking for and like kind of my personality, stuff like that, to see where I'd fit in best and like where I lived. So location, I was driving at the time, so I could go out further afield. Key Training set me up with 2 interviews. This was previous actually to a couple of interviews I'd done through myself just from applying on Indeed that weren't successful due to my age and experience, which I thought was quite funny considering I was going for an apprenticeship where you start kind of learning from scratch. But Key Training set me up with 2 interviews, one at a local estate agent and one at a conveyancing office. I went to both and I actually did get offered both positions, and that's how I then decided I wanted to go into conveyancing.
Okay, so having that third-party organisation was really helpful and successful for you.
Definitely.
So your application was successful, fantastic, and you were invited to your interview. How did this process work for you?
So Key Training arranged the interviews with both companies and told me when I'd be going for the interviews and what time and who I'd have to contact. I was quite confident with interviews at that stage due to previous experience with interviews, but they did offer a lot of support with kind of how to do an interview, any tips and stuff like that. So they were really good at the support at that stage. And as I said, I was offered both jobs. At the estate agent role, wanted me to work longer hours per week for not enough money, and Key Training were very good. I had to really make sure that that's what I wanted to do, and you know how it wasn't exactly ethical to do that, and they kind of stood in for me because obviously at the time I didn't really know what was right or what was wrong with money or working hours, etc. So for my well-being as an apprentice, they kind of advised not to go down that route, and that's why I took the conveyancing role. And I did actually, get on really well with the lady that interviewed me, and the team seemed really nice, and it was a small team as well, which was a good start for me for a first full-time job.
Could you tell us a little bit about what you did on a typical week in your apprenticeship?
Yeah, of course. So obviously the first kind of week was introducing to the team, getting everyone's tea and coffees order in so I know who likes what. My apprenticeship work started quite quickly as well. I remember the first week my training lady came in and helped set up with the kind of portal for my apprenticeship work and had a lot to get stuck into. I did a lot of kind of like office-y scanning kind of jobs, but I did a lot of shadowing with the conveyancers, getting to know how the process works, looking at different forms and letters that they use, and I did eventually go on to them making phone calls and had my emails all set up. So yeah, anyone in the office would kind of set me work, go through that with me, so I had a lot to get stuck into, and obviously I'd log that through my apprenticeship learning journal. I think the main top tip I would give is research the company. I didn't know what conveyancing was when I went for my interview, so I researched what it was and what the company, the company background was, and I think that's really good for them when they ask, because I mean that was the first question they asked me was, what do you know about conveyancing? And I think because they could see I'd actually researched and took an interest in the company, that will impress them with how proactive you are. Experience doesn't have to be from working, it can be from home or social. So don't think you always have to have experience from work, especially young apprentices who have never had a job before. It can be quite daunting to come up with some kind of experiences or examples, but having that from home or social life is just as valuable as work experience, I think.
Great tips there, Ellen, thank you. What was it like living at home compared to moving away, for example, if you're going to university?
I think this is a really good question, actually. Because I was 18 and I could drive, my independence was growing anyway. And there was kind of this battle of, some of my friends were going to university, and I did envy kind of them, having their own little space and experiencing a new city and stuff like that. But I actually, get on really well with my family. I enjoy living at home. They give me the independence that I kind of want, and especially with getting a full-time job, not only could I then drive, I also was earning my own quite significant income. So I didn't have, the pocket money anymore, or asking for lifts and stuff like that. So it did come with more independence, definitely. differently. And like I said, I had a good relationship with my parents, so the dynamic didn't really change. Felt kind of similar going to school every day and coming home, but it definitely, me and my parents would discuss kind of like working life and stuff like that. So yeah, it definitely had a change. I felt definitely a lot more grown up.
A huge benefit of doing an apprenticeship is that you get to earn a salary, as you were just saying. How did you find this?
Yeah, I really enjoyed, earning my own money. As I said previously, with my part-time jobs, I think I definitely got used to having that independence of having my own money to spend and kind of getting used to saving and budgeting. And the money went up after 6 months and then again after I finished my apprenticeship, and my company put in place kind of a salary ladder. So it's definitely a motivation, to get them qualifications to move up with your money.
What challenges did you have to overcome in an apprenticeship in business and then again in conveyancing law?
I've always actually really enjoyed studying and learning. So working and studying, I didn't come across many challenges. I'm quite an organised person, and going from A levels to a level 2 with the support as well, I did actually really enjoy my business admin apprenticeship. When I started my level 4, I definitely saw kind of a step up. It's more independent learning, the level 4, and also you get more responsibilities at work. So I started to have my own clients, and people started to know who I was from the client's perspective. So you had definitely a lot more work going on. So getting used to that definitely was a challenge to overcome. Also, getting used to having no half terms or summer holidays going into full-time work is, something that you have to get used to, but you have more time than you think. I think when you go into full-time work, you think, I'm never going to have any spare time, but you do. You just get used to it.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today, Ellen. My last question is, what are some of the best things you have had the chance to do and learn through your apprenticeships?
Going into full-time work is just such a valuable experience, and the opportunities I got given at my previous job, we got free tickets to Newmarket races and Ipswich Town Football Club, where we got like a 3-course meal and then got to watch the football matches, which was just a really fun experience and a very good incentive, really. I'm such an advocate for apprenticeships, as it gives you that valuable life experience as well as a qualification which can lead to opportunities unknown at the time. I mean, I would have never thought I'd have done a conveyancing qualification when I was 18 looking for an apprenticeship. And then leading on from that, obviously with my new role at Suffolk County Council as an Apprenticeship Suffolk Coordinator, I can now kind of pass the torch, give all the information and support needed for those coming into the apprenticeship world who don't really know where to start or like what's going to be achieved by doing an apprenticeship. I can really, help and show my journey, and hopefully that will inspire someone else.
Wow, that's lovely to hear, Ellen. Thank you so much again.
That's okay. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our future podcasts at soundcloud.com/takeyourplace or on your favourite podcasting app. You can also find us on Instagram, where we are at takeyourplace_HE, on Twitter at takeyourplacehe, and on Facebook at facebook.com/takeyourplacehe. You can also email us any questions, requests, or just to let us know what you think on info@takeyourplace.ac.uk.